to George's Cakes YouTube channel. This video is based on so many of your suggestions. It's my clam macarons, or I say macaroons, so I'm going to say macaroons. It's my clam macaroons. So they're my basic macaroon recipe, but actually in the shape of clams, and they're really cute. And for some reason, the Instagram post went absolutely viral. It was reposted everywhere, and since then, everyone has asked me how I make them, so I'm going to show you. So here I've got my simple macaron recipe. Now if you want this recipe, I believe you head to this corner and click the I and you can see the video of how I make my macarons. So I just skipped that part because it's on that video, so I thought I'd get straight into the clam making. And I've got my white mixture here. So it's at the perfect consistency. It's like this ribbon stage. It takes about 3 seconds to drop. And I'm going to colour it with this coral colouring. Now you can actually do them any colour you want, but I feel like it makes most sense to do it coral because it's to do with the sea. And I use gel food colouring, which means the colour goes a lot further. You don't need as much. So I've got a nice dollop in there, and now I'm just going to mix the colour through. I really like coral. It's like an orangey pink. So with macarons, you don't want to ever over mix the mixture, because what happens is that the almonds start to release their oils and affects the consistency. So just slowly turning it like this, that's how you want to mix it. Okay, so the colour is mixed in evenly. If you want it a bit stronger, just add a little more colouring, but I'm happy with that. So I'm going to fill my piping bag, and I'm going to use my secret vase. And I've got a round nozzle in the end of this. And what I'm going to do is twist the end of the piping bag. And that prevents air bubbles, apparently. And then put the piping bag in the vase. And it just makes it so much easier to fill. And then just gently untwist the end. And you're ready to pipe. So I've got a lined baking tray here, and with my special magnets to keep the paper down. Now the clam shape is actually really simple to pipe. You're basically piping the U and then a V sitting on top of it. So I'll show you exactly what I mean. You do this U shape, and then inside a V. Like that. And try and get it as even as possible. Again, you want to space them out quite well. So if you've got a smaller nozzle, you can pipe smaller ones. I like when they're a bit big because you can see more of the detail. So like my normal macaroons, you just bang the tray hard to release any air bubbles there might be. So a couple of air bubbles were released, but if there are any that are finding it hard to release, just get a little toothpick and just literally pop them. And that is another great way just how to get rid of the air bubbles. Okay, so like any other macaroon, I'm going to leave these to skin for about 20 to 30 minutes until you can touch them without getting any mixture on your fingers. And while they're skinning, I'll get on with the other elements of the clam macaroons. So while the macaroon shells are skinning, I get on with making the little pearls that sit inside the clams. And to do that, I make a white chocolate ganache. Now white chocolate ganache usually uses 1/3 double cream and 2/3 white chocolate. But I want the ganache to set slightly harder. So I actually use 60 mils of cream and then double the amount of white chocolate. So I've got 120 grams. Also, this is really good white chocolate, and I always say get the best quality chocolate you can, because essentially that's what you're going to be tasting. So if you get like a kind of not so great tasting white chocolate, they're not going to taste that great, whereas this is literally the best thing in the world. Whoops, did I just do that? So to start the white chocolate ganache, I'm just going to heat up the cream until it's steaming. I don't want to overheat the cream, so I'm just going to keep swelling the pan until you get a nice steam coming from it. Okay, so the cream is nicely steaming. That also means it's reached about 75 degrees. You don't really need a thermometer, you just need it to be hot enough so when we add the chocolate melts in. So in goes the chocolate. It's also a lot better to have the chocolate either in pellets like this or chopped up finely, just so it melts a lot quicker. Swirl the pan around, and then you can slowly stir it with a spoon. And as you can see, the heat of the cream is melting all the chocolate. Just as a side note, loads of people ask me, firstly, why it turns yellow like this, and also how to achieve a white chocolate ganache. Now, I don't actually know the reason why it turns yellow. I think it's just the reaction between the cream and the chocolate. But if you want white chocolate ganache, you actually need to get something called titanium oxide, which is a white food colouring powder, and you add that to the cream before you add the chocolate and it should keep the whiteness of it. I'll put a link below if you're interested in purchasing it. So the chocolate's all mixed in, and now I'm just going to transfer it into a bowl. And now I'm going to put this in the fridge, and it needs at least an hour, maybe even 2, until it's really, really set, so then after we can make the pearls with it. So the macarons have been left, and they have a really nice skin on top of them, so they're going to go into the oven. Seeing as they're bigger, they need slightly longer than just the circle macaroons, so I'm going to put them in for about 15 minutes at 135 degrees Celsius. And again, check for that wobble I speak about in my other macaroon video, and just make sure that they're nice and chewy on the inside but set on the outside. So while the macaroons are cooking, it's a great time to make the buttercream. And this buttercream recipe is called French buttercream, and you actually use the egg yolks that we had when we separated the eggs when you take the whites for the macaroons, if that makes sense. So it uses up egg yolks, which is always a positive in my kitchen. So for this, you need 180 grams of caster sugar, which I've covered with a bit of water in a saucepan here. We need 90 grams of yolk, which if you're basing it on 20 grams of yolk, more or less, that's how you basically weigh it out, and 250 grams of unsalted softened butter. And I'm going to make it salted caramel flavour, so I've got some of my salted caramel sauce, which is also on my channel, so I believe if you click this eye, you'll head over to that video. And this has been out the fridge for maybe an hour or so, and it's kind of got to this lovely runny consistency, and it's again cold, so it's not going to melt the buttercream. So to start, I'm going to put the sugar and water onto the heat and heat it to 118 degrees Celsius. And while the sugar's heating, I'm going to put the yolks into a stand mixer with a whisk attachment. And I'm going to put that onto whisk on maximum speed. Now you can't ever over whisk egg yolks, so it doesn't matter how fast or how long you whisk them for, just whack it up high until the sugar's ready. Sugar has come up to temperature and the egg yolks are really white and fluffy, and now it's time to pour the sugar into the egg yolk. I'm going to turn down the speed and pour it on the side of the bowl. Turn the speed up back high and whisk it until it's cool again. Okay, so the egg yolk has been cooked with the sugar and it's really light and fluffy. The bowl's cool, which means I can start adding the butter. So in big chunks like this, you just drop it in and let it mix before you add the next bit. And turn the speed back up and then it will form the buttercream. So So you can see the buttercream's formed. It's really soft and rich and looks delicious. So we're going to add our flavour now. As I said, I've got this beautiful salted caramel sauce, and this is personal preference. So I'm going to start with about 2 teaspoons of sauce inside. That literally just drops in. And then I'll taste it and see if it's flavoured enough. Some people like it stronger than others, so this is up to you. So let's give this a mix and then I'll taste it. Looks so delicious. That's actually perfect. So I'm not going to add any more. Just going to tap the excess buttercream off the whisk and lick it off my lips too. I'm going to fill a piping bag. Now, I don't know why, but I love filling the clam macaroons with a piping bag that's got a star nozzle in. I just like the effect of the piping in the clams. It's totally up to you. You can do a plain nozzle if you want, or no nozzle. I'm going to use my vase to fill it. My extra pair of hands. And just spoon the buttercream in. So I'll just secure the top by twisting it round. And that is ready to fill the macaroons once they're cooked. Okay, so the macaroons are done. They've just come out of the oven, so the tray is hot, and I'm just going to remove the magnets. Now, if you are using magnets, they are boiling hot, so be careful. This is an oven cloth, so I'm just going to remove them with this. And you want to get the macaroons off the tray as soon as possible, otherwise they'll keep cooking. So I'll just slide these off the tray. So while they're cooling down, I'm going to get my chocolate ganache that I made earlier. Now this I actually made a couple of hours before I started, just so it can set really hard. And the way I make the chocolate pearls is I get actually a melon baller. I just think it's a really good shape and size to do this with. And the idea is that I'm going to scoop out the chocolate and put them onto a tray. But because the chocolate can be quite sticky and soft, I'm actually going to line a plate with some icing sugar. So here I've got a fine sieve. I'm just going to sieve on the icing sugar, just to avoid bigger lumps of sugar, basically. And this will also prevent the chocolate ganache from sticking to the other pearls. So it'll separate them quite nicely. And what I usually do actually is also just get a bit of icing sugar on my hand, kind of rub my hand in icing sugar, because your hands can get slightly sticky and sweaty, so that just prevents any moisture from transferring onto the chocolate. So with my melon baller, I'm just going to scoop out a ball like this. As you can see, it's formed a really nice shape already. Quickly transfer it into my hand, give it a little roll, and drop it onto the icing sugar. And then just lightly dust the top of it with some more sugar. Give it a little roll around. And now that's protected. We're going to dust away the excess icing sugar, so it's okay that it's quite covered for now. But I'm going to make a few more pearls and put them onto the plate too. And just to finish them off, I'm just going to pick them up and almost shake away the excess icing sugar, just so you achieve a really smooth round little ball, which will be the clam's pearl. And these essentially are white chocolate truffles. And if you don't have the energy to make these, you can use any ball-shaped chocolate or sweet, to be honest. Actually, white Maltesers work really well. So as long as they're a small shape and edible, you can pretty much use anything. So we are ready to assemble the clam macaroons. We've got our white chocolate pearls ready, our salted caramel buttercream, the macaroons are cooled. So I've also got this edible paint, and it's a metallic pink, which I think it looks really nice against the coral colour. And what I'm going to do with a fine food safe paintbrush, so the clam's slightly misshapen in the oven, but you still have the bumps at the top of each shell. But just to enhance the shape of them, I'm going to add 3 stripes of paint. So from the top, kind of 2/3 down, 1 in the middle, and then 1 on the other side. And you can already see it enhances the shape of the clams. So I'm going to put some paint on all of the sides. So like normal macaroons, I'm going to pair up the ones that are most similar in sizes, so they're a perfect match. So let's go this one. So I've paired up each of the shells, and what you want to do is actually choose a better side, because that's going to sit on top of the clam. So with a not so better side, take the side of the macaroon, take your buttercream, and what I usually do is actually do a nice big swirl at the bottom, and then do some scrolls filling up all the other sides. So a scroll is when you push and pull. If that's what you're seeing from the inside, I don't know, it kind of looks like, I don't even know what it looks like. It's a nice effect. So just to give it a bit of extra height, I'm just going to go on top of the layer again. Get your chocolate pearl and place it in the centre in the middle towards the front. Then get your other side of the macaroon and place it on the back and rest it on top of the pearl. And there you go. You got a little clam macaroon. Isn't that really pretty? I'm just going to put them on a slate to present them. So there you go, my clam macarons. I hope that's given you a little insight in how I make them. Give them a go yourself, don't be scared. Again, follow my step-by-step tutorial about the basic macarons, and then you can transfer your skills into making these. Give them a go, hashtag me on Instagram, George's Cake, so I can see your creations, because I'd love to see them. And if you have any ideas that you want me to bring to life, comment on this video, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you can be up to date with all the videos I release. I hope you enjoyed watching, and we'll see you next time.